why does it exist? Like, who does it?
It's a good question. So
and why do we just assume that the more time, as time goes down, like the thing is worth more? Why? Right?
Yeah, and that's based on rarity, scarcity, and demand. In Scotland is what we predominantly sell is Scotch whisky. It's one continent. They produce 400 million litres annually, so it's slightly different from wine. Wine has 5 continents, I think 5 billion litres. So you have rarity and scarcity within this particular market, and you certainly have demand. With Scotch whisky is sold globally. That's more than Irish, Japanese, and US combined. So you have demand, which creates value in the bottles that people buy, and it's the cask that you have will create that value going forward, particularly when it gets to a premium age.
So so let me get this straight. So what you're saying is it the demand for Scotch, like, is that what's called Scotch whiskey?
Yes, yeah.
So the demand for Scotch whiskey, which is what you guys specialize in, it's actually more than the demand of Japanese whiskey and US whiskey combined. Is that what you said?
Yes, consumption-wise, Scotch is consumed globally more than those 3 countries, combined. There are fantastic Irish whiskies and Japanese and obviously US, but the demand and the history, we feel Scotch is the best performing asset, and many records out there that the sale of casks or bottles is predominantly Scotch that holds those records.
Okay. And then, and you also said just now that not only the demand is more, but the supply is more scarce because people produce wine on 6 whatever continents, whereas Scotch whiskey is only produced in 1 continent. So that just dramatically shrinks down the supply. Okay, I get that. Okay.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Okay, and I guess that explains, why it exists because there's demand for it. So what you're saying is that because there's such a demand for the product, which is already proven, it's more than combined, of several other ones in the subset, and also is the supply is quite limited. Therefore, like it goes up every year. Is that like do you guys have number proving that? Like proving that did it really go up every year? Like what's the industry standard for estimating this?
Yeah, historically prices increase, annually. To give you a good indication and to how to find that out, you can look at any retail outlet online. And if you have a look at a bottle of Scotch, other whiskies, but Scotch predominantly, a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old, an 18-year-old, 21 and so forth, you'll see the prices increase quite significantly because as the older it gets, it takes a lot longer to mature, which there's less in the market at that stage. For production, they might bottle younger. But the older it gets, the more valuable it becomes. And if you see the price difference, it's quite significant between a 3-year gap of those signature years.
Okay, that's the key. And I think anyone can understand that. The more aged the spirit is, the more it's worth. I think that anybody understands that. Okay, that's easy to understand. So I guess that creates an arbitrage opportunity for people to buy at a young spirit and sell at an older spirit, I guess.
Right? Sure, yeah. Different lifestyles and life cycles depending on your preferences. If you want to be in the market, it is a long-term investment. It's a minimum of 5 years, but everybody's different. I've got 2 young children. I bought casks for long term, so for 15 years plus. But just depending on where you want to be and what's important to you from an investment perspective, we can work out a strategy and a roadmap, if you like, to suit your criteria.
So are you saying that people can buy for much shorter time and still make a profit out of it? Like say not holding for 5 years, maybe hold for like 1 or 2 years. Does that work too?
It's quite difficult for 1 or 2 years, and that's based on we cannot speed up the maturation process.
Right.
You know, where it breathes, it needs time to create value. And we feel at the Vintage Whisky Group that 5 years is enough time to create rarity and scarcity, which creates value for both parties. We're motivated on the performance of your cask, so it has to work for both parties. So our objectives are aligned in the fact that, you know, it's in our best interest to get you as much from your cask as possible, as we are, you know, motivated. We get paid commission on the back of that.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you guys recommend at least 5 years, and that will give the value a good bump. And you also mentioned, I guess this also tells you why does it exist. Like, I know in our culture, like in Chinese culture, like sometimes people really do age their own wine when their kids are born. So, you know, when the kids are into adulthood, then you can get the wine out and celebrate. So same thing here, right? Like you could, I think you mentioned a use case where you actually bought cask for your own kids when they were born, and they will, you know, grow together. I guess that's the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an alternative for, you know, your standard vanilla products or banking ISAs. You know, you might see some small gains over time, cumulative. But with whiskies, it's something different. It's for someone that's born or a child that's born. It's, you know, when they're at a certain age, when they want to fly the nest, a deposit on a house or some university fees. It's certainly valuable to them when it gets to a certain age, particularly around that time, sort of 18, 21 years.
Got it. Okay, so I guess people do. So to sum it up, let me see if I get it right. I guess 2 reasons why people do this. Number 1 is, you know, is for consumption, is for sentimental reasons, like you want to buy something when your kids are born or to mark something. So you start age the spirit. Or and not only you can use for consumption, but it appreciates in value along with time. So there is that linear correlation. Okay, then
Correct. Yeah.
right.